Crime is a major issue, particularly in blue cities, and it continues to be a major issue simply because they do not enforce the laws. And that's what's caused another recent case where a 75-year-old woman was attacked in Seattle by a repeat offender that has an actual reputation for attacking people. So let's watch the video on how this happened.
Developing tonight, new video shows the shocking attack on an elderly woman standing outside the King County Courthouse. A man armed with a board that had a spike through it hit the 75-year-old woman in the face, blinding her. KOMO's Jeremy Harris spoke with the woman's family.
And that attack was, again, unprompted. I don't think he stole anything. So this person is clearly dangerous and should have been arrested. Again, I mentioned earlier they have an actual reputation. So let's continue watching the video.
And uncovered disturbing details about the suspect's reputation for attacking people on 3rd Avenue in downtown Seattle. Jeremy?
So they have an actual reputation. And if someone has a reputation, a reputation of attacking people, that means they've done it multiple times, again and again and again. And how come this person is not in jail before that reputation actually developed? Because if they have an actual reputation, that means they've done it previously. And a simple way to make sure that doesn't happen again is to put them in jail and arrest them for assault, for attacking people. And the fact that he was still out on the streets and actually able to do this attack after having that reputation is obviously a failure of the criminal justice system, and that needs to be reformed in a way for people like this need to be put in jail. People like the person that committed this crime need to be put in jail. Let's continue watching.
Yeah, Jeanette Markin came down here to pick up a food order in Pioneer Square when she was attacked. Now, I just got videos through a public records request that show what happened. We're going to pause the video before she's actually hit. But what really stood out to me was from police body camera video showing there were obvious warning signs about this suspect before the attack.
So if there were warning signs, they should have stopped this person in the first place. A lot of cops, a lot of the times, go up to someone, see if they're doing something suspicious. They'll go up to someone, talk to them, and see what's going on. And a lot of times that's successful. In most times, for deterring people from actually committing the crime in the first place, because they don't want to be arrested, they don't want to be caught and put in jail. So a lot of times that deters them. And I don't get why the police didn't do this in this case. As I said, there was clear warning signs, and additionally, this is near a courthouse. It was outside King County Courthouse in Seattle. So there's obviously police there. And as he mentioned already, there was actual body camera footage that shows him being already showing signs of being dangerous. So this should have been prevented in the first place, and they should have kept an eye on this person. They need to do something like that. That would simply prevent this case from happening here. Additionally, since this was right outside of the courthouse, a lot of police again. So it's obvious that they noticed the person and that they were a danger already to people around them. So why didn't they go up to the person? And that is a failure on the Seattle Police Department. And they need to actually find a way to prevent this in the future. Maybe do more training of police members. Maybe actually increase the police budget. But that is actually, but police, due to the fact of BLM and what happened in 2020, that is actually the police departments have decreased their funding. So they've actually had less training, less ways to actually to enforce the laws and do preventative measures like going up to someone and seeing what's going on. And that's not good for the average person in Seattle.
It's just before noon on December 5th outside the King County Courthouse in Seattle. That's 75-year-old Jeanette Markin standing on the corner, and police say this is Fale Pea walking up with a stick in his hand when out of nowhere he attacks her. Jeanette is knocked to the ground. Bystanders take a picture of the suspect, then rush. Yeah,
there's bystanders too. So, and if you notice too, perpetrator just ended up walking by. He didn't end up running. So this shows he's actually calm under the situation. So so he knows that there's not going to be very many consequences, or at least he has a perception that there won't be any consequences because he's done stuff like this in the past, and he hasn't been arrested, put in jail. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't been taken out and put in jail. So this shows that he has a reputation, and he's actually not afraid of the cops, and as there is no consequences. And an easy way to stop this is, again, consequences. Basic consequences. If you arrest this person, they'll be off the streets, and they'll be less likely to actually do it again, as there'll be an actual punishment. So this is an absolute failure on the police and the justice system within Seattle.
Help Jeanette. The full scope of what happened wasn't clear yet. Police arrested Paya a block away and found the weapon. This wooden board with a...
At least the police in this situation actually had a pretty fast response time, as they were able to arrest the person in a matter of... Let's see. Does it have a timestamp on the video here? No, it doesn't have a timestamp. But it was only a block away. So it was... So he didn't get very far, so that's at least good. But still, it was... The fact that it was a courthouse, it really shouldn't have taken that long. And again, he was walking. So police should have been there, immediately. So...
Arrested Paya a block away and found the weapon. This wooden board with a screw through the end of it. Police say that screw went through Jeanette's eye.
Who is this guy? Is he?
He's a regular. He usually punches.
Again, he said irregular here. And he also heard he usually punches. So, he wasn't arrested for those past crimes, and now he escalated to use an actual weapon. This is what happens when you don't arrest people that commit violence. They continue to escalate. They continue to do worse and worse crimes. You saw it with the Irina Ruska case, where the person that ended up killing her had previous assault charges, and eventually led up to murder. I saw it with the one in Chicago. Again, many felony accounts of assault that eventually led to murder. Or in the burning of someone else. So, this escalation happens when you don't actually punish the person. And you need to arrest them to stop that escalation.
I guess today he decided to escalate things way worse than his usual.
Where is he usually?
He's usually just up and down Third.
As paramedics race her to the hospital, it becomes obvious police know Folly Paya well.
Do you have the suspect's ID?
Yeah, suspect's ID. He's being searched right now. Yeah. You know him?
Oh, he's notorious for random assaults on 3rd Street.
Court records show...
Yeah, again, those actual police members, in my opinion, the fact that they've known this person and it happens again and again and again, they need to actually be charged with something. Charged with negligence. Or charge the judge that had all these cases that ended up releasing him. Because the fact that the police know him, they actually know his name, and they had him arrested multiple times in the past. These people means that he's done it previously, and the fact that he's on the street is a danger to everyone around them. And the fact that he's also on the street means that they're not actually enforcing the laws that they need to be. So these police members and the judge actually need to be arrested, in my opinion, for the fact that they haven't done their jobs, and it's led to someone being injured and being blinded. So they need to be arrested, in my opinion, or face some sort of consequence. Because it's not just the person.
Had multiple prior convictions for assault, including stabbing someone 8 times at a party.
Was that?
Again, why isn't this person in jail, permanently? They need to be in jail permanently.
It's not her responsibility to know, what parts are good, what parts are she cannot walk there.
Andreas Virikis is Jeanette Markham's son.
How's your mother doing?
Right now, she's out of the second surgery.
After several surgeries, she's been told she won't recover sight in her eye and may need even more reconstructive surgeries.
To take a wood club with nails and I'm gonna hit her with all the force on her face. It's that's not someone you can recover or help. I don't understand that.
Her attack is...
Yeah, again, you can't really help this person. They've been shown to do it repeatedly, and they've shown to be convicted. The only thing you could do is put them in jail. and maybe try to do rehabilitation. But at this point, it's happened so many times that it's clearly that the person here doesn't want to be rehabilitated. So I agree with the son here. You gotta just arrest him, and he's beyond saving at this point.
The latest act of horrific street violence near 3rd and James. A man was shoved into a door and killed just across the street. And earlier this year,
Again, they're saying there's an actual pattern. And that's probably because the police there aren't doing anything. And they're just releasing the criminals, even though they were convicted and they're continuing to be out on the street.
people were shot at the same intersection. There are multiple homeless and drug treatment centers on the block, and city and county leaders have pledged for years to clean up the area.
Again, they don't clean up the area. So you got to do stuff to actually solve the crime issue and address these issues for the people there, or else it continues to happen repeatedly. Again, they showed multiple examples of actual homicides happening in this area. And I blame the fact that those continue to happen on the police and on the court system and the justice system in Seattle, as a lot of these people are repeat offenders and they do it over and over again.
Make people feel safer. Jeanette's family says whatever's being done isn't enough to keep people like her safe.
I want someone to at least say to my mom, hey, we're working on this. We're trying to fix this. Like, I know, yeah, he's unusual. Like, usual what? Attacking people? Civilians? Like, what the hell is wrong?
Yet no one does it. And that's due to the fact that they've been captured and they are clearly just social justice warriors that don't really care. And that are actively trying to actively using DEI policies to actually result in more crime, and using criminal justice reform to result in more crime in the area. And they don't want to solve this simply because they're captured politically.
With your system.
Fale Pea is being held in the King County Jail with a bail of $1 million, and he is scheduled to...
In my opinion, he should do no bail. Although I think $1 million is probably enough, because he seems to have not a lot of money that he won't be getting out. But in my opinion, someone has done a repeat offender like this needs to be put in with no bail. As, again, this was also blatantly obvious. It was right in front of everyone. So, in my opinion, stuff like this needs to be no bail at all. And even though I think $1 million's enough to where he won't be able to pay it, $1 million, it needs to be no bail. No bail.
Appear back in court for a competency hearing later this month. Reporting live in Seattle, Jeremy Harris,
a
Global
month?
News.
Jeremy, truly a
it'd take a month. That's another thing with the court system right now. It's incredibly slow. And that's probably why people like this slip through the cracks. So in my opinion, another thing is we need to expand the justice system in some way and allow for more judges. Because that would also be a way for them to actually have less of these people slip through the cracks. But still, they do need to do some reform and do a lot of arresting people that are clearly violent.
Unprovoked attack on this innocent woman, and she lost her eye because of this. I think a lot of people will watch your story, and having heard that soundbite where they say this is an individual notorious for random attacks, what happened in those prior cases?
Well, Mary, that's such a good question, and it's one that I'm also asking as well, because jail records show that police had him in and out of jail multiple times this year. In fact, 8 jail bookings, and only in one of those cases was I able to find that criminal charges were actually filed. So that's a question that we're going to be following up with prosecutors both at the county and the city for.
Jeremy, thank you.
So yeah, it was total of how many times? He said 8 times in and out of jail, and there was only one time he was actually charged. And that is an absolute failure on the prosecutors, the judge, the police. Anyone that's involved in this needs to face some sort of consequence. And we need to actually pass laws, be it at the local level or federal level, although I don't think federal level they really can, but at the local level, and encourage laws that actively hold police members, prosecutors, and judges accountable for not actually charging these people and keeping them in jail. Because again, 8 times. And for assault, the charge is definitely more than a month. It's more than that, especially for repeat offenders. So why is this person in jail for any of that time? And arrested in jail for any portion? And that is a simple failure on the simple failure of the people that are running the county there. And they need to do as much as possible to actually arrest this person and make sure and hold. We need to do as much to hold these people that don't actually arrest the person accountable, as they are the ones that help make this stuff happen, and they're the ones that continue to make the area unsafe, even when they have violent criminals like this. They're the ones that have some level of responsibility for what's going on, as their job is to do the law enforcement and keep people in jail. So they need to do something, particularly in Seattle and also in blue cities throughout the U.S., as you can continue to see this in multiple cities. They need to have laws to hold these people accountable, prosecutors, judges, or even police members that release these violent criminals. And that would be the simplest solution to this, and make sure that violence like this does not happen. So anyway, thanks everyone for listening, and share this with someone you know, and I'll see you next time.